Hello and welcome to Lantern Lane Stories. Tonight's story is The Bear Who Waited at Paddington Station. Close your eyes and imagine London on the 24th of December, 1956. The streets are cold and dark. The air smells of frost and chimney smoke and something sweet from a nearby bakery. Christmas is tomorrow, and everyone is in a great hurry. Everyone except Michael Bond, who has just realized he has forgotten a gift for his wife. He turns up his collar and walks quickly to a toy shop near Paddington Station. Inside, it smells of wood shavings and old paper. Soft music plays from a radio at the back, but the shelves are almost empty. Other shoppers came much earlier when the shelves were still full. Michael looks left, a gap where a doll used to be. He looks right, a gap where a rabbit used to be. Then, in the far corner, on the very last shelf, he stops. One small teddy bear sits all alone, brown fur just a little worn at the ears, a soft round face with still, patient eyes, a red hat sitting slightly crooked. All the other bears have gone home with other families. This one has waited. Michael walks over and stands in front of the bear. He looks at the tilted hat. He looked at the patient eyes. He looked at the round, warm face. "You've been here a while, haven't you?" he says softly. The bear says nothing, of course. But something about those quiet eyes makes Michael feel very warm. He picks the bear up gently. It fits perfectly in the crook of his arm. "I'll take him," Michael tells the shopkeeper. And just like that, the last bear on the shelf has been chosen. Michael carries the bear home through the cold London night. Golden lights glow in the windows of houses along the street. His flat is near Paddington Station. On quiet evenings, he can hear the trains. Inside, it is warm. His wife Brenda has made tea. On Christmas morning, she unwraps the small brown parcel. She holds the bear up and looks at his tilted red hat. "Oh," she says, "he has such a thoughtful face." "We live near Paddington Station," Michael says. "Shall we call him Paddington?" Brenda looks at the bear for a quiet moment. "Paddington," she says. "Yes, that's exactly right. So the bear has a name?" Michael sets Paddington on the shelf beside his writing desk. Every morning, when Michael sits down to write, Paddington is there. The bear sits very still, wearing his crooked red hat. He looks out across the room with his quiet, waiting eyes. Sometimes, between sentences, Michael glances over at him. He wonders, "Where did you come from, little bear? What have you been waiting for?" One gray January afternoon, Michael does not write his usual work. He writes something new. He writes, "A young bear has just arrived at Paddington Station." He stops and reads it back. He smiles. He keeps writing. In Michael's imagination, Paddington has come a very, very long way. He was born in the deepest, darkest part of Peru. Peru is far, far away, past wide oceans and warm jungles and different stars. There, in a small clearing in the forest, lived Aunt Lucy. She was old and kind, with round spectacles perched on the end of her nose. Aunt Lucy had once met an explorer from England. He had taught her his language. She thought it was the most useful thing she had ever learned, and so she taught young Paddington English every evening. They sat outside while the fireflies drifted in the warm, dark moon. Aunt Lucy said a word. Paddington repeated it. "Please, please. Thank you, excuse me. I am terribly sorry." "Excuse me? I am terribly sorry." "Good," Aunt Lucy would say again. She also taught him to make marmalade. She had a small copper pot and a pile of bright oranges. On marmalade mornings, the whole clearing smelled of orange peel and warm sugar. "Marmalade sandwiches," Aunt Lucy said, "are the best food for a long journey." Paddington thought she was absolutely right. Then one day, Aunt Lucy said it was time for him to see the world. She packed his small suitcase, a spare hat, a clean shirt, and the marmalade sandwiches in brown paper. She hung a small tag around his neck. On the tag, in careful small letters, she wrote, "Please look after this bear. Thank you." Then she hugged him very tight. Paddington traveled alone across the wide gray ocean. He was patient and quiet and ate only one sandwich each day to make them last. At last, the ship reached England. Paddington followed the passengers to a great station with iron-arching roofs. Steam curled through the cold air. People rushed past in every direction, carrying bags and umbrellas. The tea stall smelled sweet. The engines rumbled deep and low. Paddington found a long red bench and sat down carefully. He put his suitcase between his feet. He had good manners and one marmalade sandwich left. That was enough. He would wait. Two people were not rushing. Mr. and Mrs. Brown had just said goodbye to someone on a train. Now they walked slowly across the great station hall. Mrs. Brown stopped. "Henry," she said quietly, "there is a small bear sitting over there." Mr. Brown looked up from his newspaper. "So there is," he said. They walked closer. Paddington stood up, took off his hat politely, and said, "Good afternoon." Mrs. Brown blinked. "You can talk, of course," said Paddington. "My Aunt Lucy said it was very important." Mrs. Brown read the tag around his neck. "Please look after this bear. Thank you." She looked at Mr. Brown. He folded his newspaper neatly and put it in his pocket. "We cannot leave him here alone," she said. "No," said Mr. Brown firmly. "We certainly cannot." Paddington moved into the Brown family house at number 32 Windsor Gardens. He had a small room with the windowsill just right for sitting on. There was a hook behind the door for his hat. He tried very hard to be helpful. He offered to fix the bathroom tap and accidentally caused a small flood. He made Sunday breakfast, using marmalade in ways no one had ever seen before. "Oh dear," he would say, looking at the very orange kitchen. "I was quite certain that would work." The Brown children, Jonathan and Judy, tried not to laugh. "It is all right, Paddington," Judy always said. "We can clean it up together," Jonathan would add. And they always did. No one stayed cross for long. Because Paddington always meant well. Because he always said, "Please and thank you." Because anyone who crosses a wide ocean alone with only a suitcase and good manners deserves a great deal of kindness. Michael Bond finished writing in 1958. The book was called A Bear Called Paddington. On the cover, a small brown bear with a battered hat and a suitcase. Children in London bookshops picked it up and did not put it down. They read about the marmalade sandwiches and the messy bathroom. They read about Aunt Lucy in deepest Peru. They read about a family who welcomed a stranger because it was the right thing to do. Then children in other countries read it. The story was translated into more than 40 languages. A bear from a shop shelf near Paddington Station had traveled further than even he had imagined. Many years later, a sculptor worked carefully with bronze. He made a bear the size of a real child. The bear wore a battered hat and held a small suitcase. Around its neck was a small tag. The statue is placed inside Paddington Station in the Grand Hall where travelers arrive. If you visit London and go to Paddington Station today, you can find him. He stands very still, patient as ever. Some visitors leave small jars of orange marmalade at his feet. Children reach up to touch his bronze hat. He has been waiting there a long time. He always will be. Because one Christmas Eve, a writer saw a lonely bear on a shelf and decided he was worth bringing home. And so London also slowly fell asleep. Good night.